In 2012, Metro Trains Victoria decided to begin a public campaign for railway safety and awareness. To do this, they collaborated with an Australian advertising agency called McCann, who realised pretty quickly that a successful campaign in this instance was going to be appealing to demographics that don't really want to hear any kind of safety message. The solution that they came up with was Dumb Ways to Die, an original song and accompanying music video. The 4-minute video features small, colourful cartoon characters engaging in activities with varying levels of likelihood and realism, all of which result in their sometimes quite graphic deaths. They then all get together and dance along to the chorus, repeating, "Dumb ways to die, so many dumb ways to die." I'm pretty sure I can't play it here because of copyright, but feel free to go and look it up and watch it and then come back and watch the rest of this. Fair warning, it will get stuck in your head. Now, the climax of this video, if you like, is 3 characters dying as a result of unsafe behaviour around railway tracks and crossings. These 3 characters are jubilantly crowned the, quote, dumbest ways to die, and then the video ends with,
"Be safe around trains, a message from Metro."
Now, the effect of this video was instant. The campaign spread like wildfire. After just 2 weeks, McCann estimated that for the cost of less than one primetime Australian TV ad, they generated more than $50 million worth of global media value, in addition to 700 media stories directly pertaining to the video. These media stories were, mostly, raving about it, calling it arguably the cutest PSA ever made, adorably morbid, and the Gangnam Style of train safety campaigns. Which says it all, really. A representative from YouTube Australia said that the video was notable due to its unusually high number of views from mobile devices, but said that she attributed this to a message that's easy to understand and perfectly targeted. Also, apparently for what it's worth, the video became at the time the most awarded advertisement ever at Cannes Film Festival. Befitting the vogue of the early 2010s, the video quickly got the mobile game treatment, with a number of sequels going up until just last year. These were very successful, with the second one apparently topping the App Store charts in 86 countries, but also seemed to have less to do with the original premise as time went on. Now, although all of this certainly bodes well, it doesn't pertain to the actual question that we're asking in this video. We're here to examine if the campaign actually succeeded. Did it in fact prompt people to
Be safe around trains.
Well, since I'm here talking about it so fondly, perhaps we could start by asking if the video worked on me. I don't know. I was like 8 years old when this came out. If a successful safety campaign directed at me would have been about Razor scooters. To be fair, I would go on to spend a good bit of my adolescence fucking around on train tracks, so maybe not. But if I ever did get slimed out by the XPT, I could rest assured knowing that my death was indeed dumb. Metro Trains, however, was far more confident in its assessment. I'm just going to read these out from Wikipedia here verbatim. According to Metro Trains, the campaign contributed to a 20% reduction in near-miss accidents compared to the annual average, or 30% with respect to the same time of the year before, from 13.29 near misses per million kilometres between November 2011 and January 2012, to 9.17 near misses per million kilometres in November 2012 and January 2013. Now, when this was said, spokespeople from Metro Trains were careful to note that they couldn't measure sustainable success just yet, but there were good early signs. However, this didn't stop a former Victoria Department of Infrastructure employee from immediately calling that 20% statistic, quote, social media bullshit. Indeed, I myself fell short of actually finding Metro's working out for coming to this conclusion. Things like railway deaths are very difficult for anyone outside of the industry to really accurately measure, so in this instance, we might just have to take Metro's word for it, given that they're the only party with the ability to actually know. Things like seasonal variations, or what exactly constitutes a near miss, are no less up in the air, and doesn't really help give a lot of credence to that statistic as well. Also, for what it's worth, the acclaim wasn't universal. One of the talking points that was brought up after the video came out was that, on average per quarter in Victoria, 75% of all railway deaths were suicide. Now, I want to make it clear this was an extremely minority talking point, but it does beg the question that Metro Trains isn't going to court McCann to campaign against a statistical minority cause of death. So is it really appropriate that a campaign indirectly addressing suicide is presented in such a jovial and satirical way while presenting other ways to end your own life, like using expired medicine? How might the loved ones of someone who took their own life feel when that person is called dumb and mentioned in the same breath as using your private parts for piranha bait? In my opinion, the climax of the video clearly shows accidental deaths, so I'm not really sure that it's good faith to assume that we're talking about suicide. But it was these talking points that eventually led the video to be censored in Russia, which doesn't really say much, but it does show that people were thinking about it. Ultimately, this kind of scrutiny has ended up obscuring the truth of the matter a little bit. If something is as big as Dumb Ways to Die is, then of course it should be held up to scrutiny, but it does mean that the waters are now a little bit muddied for us. There's also the argument that Dumb Ways to Die outran its own purpose a little bit, which I think is a much more valid talking point when you're looking at things like video games and merchandise. In this instance, with all due hesitation and reluctance, we might have to take Metro's word for it, while considering all of the complications that come with that. Or we can just use the amount of parodies that it spawned as a metric for its success. Dumb Ways to Die in video games parody. Grand Theft Auto 5 Dumb Ways to Die. Squid Game, a Dumb Ways to Die parody. Dumb Ways to Die Minecraft edition. Dumb Ways to Die Game of Thrones edition. The Walking Dead plus Dumb Ways to Die parody. Cool things to find. Annoying ways to die. Smart ways to live. Dumb ways to destroy the world. We want to live in Caracas? But ultimately, if you're watching this and you've ever thought about driving around boom gates or standing in front of the yellow line or walking across railway tracks but haven't, thank you for watching. And if that's because you watch Dumb Ways to Die, then maybe let Metro Trains Victoria know. They might be interested to hear from you.